What if I were to tell you that you could grow fresh, homegrown produce without a garden in your kitchen in 3 to 6 days, even smack in the middle of the wintertime? Well, that is the power of sprouts and what sprouts bring to the table for you guys. And today we're going to talk about growing sprouts. And in particular, we're going to grow this 5-part salad mix that comes from True Leaf Market. So True Leaf Market is sponsoring this video. A big thank you to them for sponsoring. You're going to love True Leaf Market. If you haven't been there before, they are the place to go for both microgreens and sprouting seeds. They have tons of kits to get you started. They have dozens of varieties of sprout seeds and hundreds of varieties of microgreen seeds. It is a great place for you to go to get started with your sprouting adventure. So I've included some links in the description of this video with kits and some of our favorite seeds. And so check those out down below. True Leaf Market is the place to be for sprouting. So what we're going to do in this video is we are going to go through and talk about a couple of different things. The first thing is we're going to address some safety concerns. We're going to talk about 3 rules that you need to follow at home when you're growing your seeds and your sprouts so that you're sure that you're doing them safely. Then I'm going to give you an overview of the whole process, just a quick little overview, and then we're actually going to plant some sprouts and get them started and grow through the whole process. So I'm going to show you every day in the process so that you can see exactly how to make this 5-bean mix that we've got here grow and give you an example. And we're going to be using a jar for that. So that's where we're heading in this video. Now, some people think that growing sprouts isn't safe, and they worry about that. And part of that is because there have been, over the years, some pretty well-publicized problems with sprouts. But here's the issue. All of those problems came from people who grew them commercially, who bought them at a grocery store or something like that. We'll have an E. coli outbreak or a listeria outbreak or something like that. And that freaks people out and they think that sprouts are not safe. But if you follow 3 simple rules, growing sprouts at home is perfectly safe, really simple, like dead simple to do, and you're going to love it. So let's go through and talk about those 3 safety rules. The very first one has to do with the equipment that you choose. And there's a couple of different ways that you can grow sprouts. One is using the jar method, which is what we're going to use in this video. The other would be using trays. And either one of those, the first step in the process is going to be making sure that you have clean, sterilized equipment when you start. So we can do that a couple of different ways. You can just wash it with hot, soapy water and wash them really good. Make sure that all the surfaces get washed really good. Or if you've got a dishwasher, you can let the dishwasher do the work for you and you can wash them in the dishwasher. Either way, that is going to make sure that your equipment is clean to start out with and you're not going to have any problems there. So that is the first step. Just make sure that you have clean equipment when you start. Now the second step comes when we're talking about seeds. So for sprouting, you need to make sure that you are using seeds that are labeled for sprouting. We can't use microgreen seeds. We can't use garden seeds. You can't even use seeds that you've saved yourself from your garden. None of those have been properly cleaned and handled. So the manufacturers or the preparers basically of sprouting seeds take extra care to make sure that the seeds are clean and ready for us to be used for sprouting. And so you need to make sure that you're using sprouting seeds. You can't source your seeds from anywhere else and expect them to be safe. You need to use seeds that are from a reputable company like True Leaf Market and are labeled for sprouting. That's number 2 rule that we need to make sure we follow. And then the third rule is really simple. It's the growing process. So as sprouts start to grow in the jar, there's kind of byproducts of the growing process. And those byproducts can cause bacterial growth. And so we need to make sure that we combat that. And the way we do is by rinsing the sprouts at least twice a day. So bare minimum 2 times a day, morning and night, you need to be rinsing your sprouts. And if you do that, and then you're just going to put some water in there, swirl it around, pour it out, give it a good shake so we make sure we get the water out, and then you're going to set them on a stand like this so that the rest of the water drains out and we don't have any excess moisture in the container. So if you do those three things, make sure you use sterilized equipment, sprouting seeds only, and then rinse 2 to 3 times a day, you should have no safety issues at all. We've been sprouting for 28 years now, and we've never had any issues with food safety because we follow the rules, okay? And it's just those 3 simple rules is all you need to do to make sure that you are safe. So now you know the rules. Let's talk about the general process of growing sprouts. So the first thing is 2 different ways, like I said, that you can grow: tray systems or the jar systems. And in this video, we're going to be talking about the jar system. If you're interested in the tray system, I'll link a video right up here that you can watch where I show you how to grow in trays. The jars are basically just a mason jar. I mean, you can just use a mason jar. I like to get these nice stainless steel caps, okay? These screens that you can use for sprouting. You can get these at True Leaf Market. You can get it in a kit that comes with a jar like this one, or you can just buy the lid and the screen, and you're just going to put it in here and put it on the jar. And so that is all the equipment that we need. You really don't even need one of these stands. Most of the kits come with just a little kickstand thing that you can use, or you could even just use like a bowl or a casserole dish, something that sets it up so that you can drain that out. And then the overall process is, the first thing we're going to do is soak the seeds. And so most seeds are going to be right around 6 to 8 hours. It kind of depends on the seed. It's going to tell you on the package. So True Leaf Market is really good about labeling their packages. This one, this sprouting seed mix, which we're going to grow today, it's a 5-part salad mix that has alfalfa, radish, mung beans, lentils, and broccoli. And it takes 4 to 6 hours of soaking for these before we start the main growing process. So basically, you're just going to put some in a jar, and you're going to put a little water in, let them soak for about 4 hours. I'm filming this video right now at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Just before I go to bed tonight, I'm going to dump this out and start that growing process. So that's the next step. And then for the next 4 to 7 days, depending on what variety you're growing. And again, the package is going to tell you this mix is a 5 to 7 day mix, so it should be ready somewhere between 5 to 7 days. Probably for us here in our area, it's going to be ready in about 6 days, is what I have found. That will vary based on where you live. There's a lot of different things. Your altitude, your humidity level will affect how quickly they grow. So that's why they give you a range, 5 to 7 days. Some of you will be done a little quicker than we, and some a little bit later than ours are. But for us, it's going to be right around that 5.5 to 6 day mark. And then basically all we do is twice a day, we're going to rinse, pour it out, put it on our stand, and that's it. The process literally takes you 30 seconds twice a day, maybe 3 times if you can, okay? And that's it. It's that simple. That's the process. So now let's go through and talk about actually growing some, and I'm going to demo for you for the rest of the video how to grow in a jar with this 5-part salad mix. Okay, I brought in a second camera so that you guys can actually kind of see the process going here. Really simple to get started. So here's what we're going to do. We've cleaned and sterilized our jar, and the bag calls for 2 tablespoons. I have found that that's just a little bit too much for my jar. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put a full tablespoon of this mix in. So let me show you this. It's mung beans, lentils, alfalfa sprouts, broccoli, and radish, okay? So I'm going to put 1 full tablespoon in there, and then I'm going to put about a 1/2 tablespoon in. That is what I have found has works, maybe just a little bit less than that. That's what I found works best in our area. So you'll kind of, again, you'll adapt that. I just found that 2 tablespoons gets a little bit too full by the end, and so that seems to work out. So I'm just going to put it in the jar, and then we are going to add just enough water to cover the seeds. So we don't really need a ton of water. That's plenty right there, so just a little bit of water. And we're just going to give that a little bit of a swirl to make sure that all of the seeds get wet. We'll go ahead and put our lid on. That's probably the last time we'll need to deal with the lid until we're ready to harvest. So we'll put that lid on, and then we're going to let these guys sit for 4 to 6 hours. Depending on what you're growing, like we grow a lot of broccoli sprouts as well, and those are 6 to 8 hours. And so usually I'll put those in just before I go to bed, get them out when I get up in the morning. These, a little bit shorter term, so it's like I said earlier, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm going to pour these out before I go to bed, right around 9 o'clock tonight. So that is kind of the first step in the process. So I'll come back, we'll show you the dump out, and then we'll kind of just walk you through. I'll come in once a day so that you can see the progress that they make as they're growing. So I've let these guys sit for about 6 hours, and I did want to show you this so that you are not concerned about it. So if I come here close to the camera, you can see there's some murkiness to the water. That actually happens depending on what varieties you're using. So different seeds will give you a little bit of a different color. I'm kind of assuming that this color is probably coming from the mung beans, but it's not something that you need to really be concerned with. When those seeds soak for a bit, they kind of just off-put some color. Some of them will give you a little bit of a red tone, so it's nothing to really worry about. So these have been going 6 hours. We're just going to pour it out, and then we'll give it a good rinse one time. And then what we want to do is we want to try and spread these. We don't want the seeds in this giant clump if we can avoid it. So I like to just give it a shake. They are kind of naturally going to slide that way, but you can see I've got them kind of up here, and then we'll just gently take it over here and put it on our stand, and then we will wash these again in 12 hours towards the end of the day today. Okay, so this is basically day 3. About 36 hours from when we did the original rinse. It doesn't do much the first day, so I thought we'd just bring it to the second day. So here we go. You can see we're already starting to get sprouting. You're going to be amazed at how quickly it moves from here. But this is day 3. So all we got to do is twice today. We are just going to fill this jar up like that, just a little bit. Give it a good swirl. Pour it out, and then again we want to give it a good shake, get as much of that water out as we can, and then do our best to spread those seeds back out. And our best is that, basically. Then we'll just put it back on the stand. We'll check back in tomorrow. All right, so now we are on day 4, and you can see we've made a lot of progress just in the last 24 hours. It's actually been a little bit more than 24 hours, but we're getting pretty close. So I'm thinking that we're probably about another day. So about this time tomorrow evening, these should be ready, but looking really good. So we're just going to go ahead again, give them a good rinse. As it grows more, you got to put more water in, obviously, because you want to get a good rinse. And then remember, you want to give it a good swirl like this because we're trying to make sure that we get all of that carbon monoxide and other decomposition out. Good shake so that we get all that water out, and then back on the stand. And I think we'll probably harvest these tomorrow, maybe not until Saturday morning, but sometime pretty soon. All right, guys, so it is day 5, and these are basically ready. We're going to give them overnight, and we'll harvest them tomorrow. But you can see they're looking really nice. And we're just going to give them a rinse tonight, and then tomorrow morning we'll rinse them one more time. We're then going to put them in front of the window and let them green up a little bit. You can see we're just starting to get some green there. So we'll let them green up for about 12 hours, and we'll harvest these tomorrow night. So we'll come back tomorrow, but just going to rinse them tonight, and then we're off and running for harvesting tomorrow. All right, this is day 6, and this is the end of day 6. It's in the evening. So just so that you guys have a full reference, I started this batch of sprouts on Monday morning. It is now Saturday night, and we are done. We are ready to go. So if you can see here in this jar, things are looking really good. They greened up nicely. We left them in the sun for about 12 hours. And when I say in the sun, I mean in a sunny window. So they weren't like directly in the sun all day, but they were there in the window. So they greened up really nicely, and these guys are ready to go. And you can see the jar is full. You'll notice we've got some seed holes here. We actually don't mind them. If you don't want to eat the seed holes, then you can soak them in a little bit of water, and they'll kind of float out, and you can pour those seed holes off. I'm not a big fan of that though, because I want to make sure that when we put these away that they are relatively dry. So I rinsed them this morning, but now we're going to take them out of the jar and put them into storage, and I want them to be dry. Okay, so let's go ahead and open these guys up and take a look, and then see seed holes right there. So a lot of those are just going to kind of go away. If you want to, you can kind of just take your finger. My hands are clean, by the way. And you can pull those seed holes off just so that you get some of them out. But really, for me, they're just not that big of a deal. All right, so we're going to pull these guys out. Let me get this over here so you guys can see it. All right, so there we go. Now, it's what I like to do is I will kind of just separate these a little bit. Again, we want to make sure that we get plenty of airflow, that there's not any spots that are too wet or anything like that. And then we're just going to put these, this is a glass jar, whatever you've got, with an airtight container. And these should last in the fridge for 3 to 5 days. Usually we've gotten them all eaten up within, about 3 days, but they will last as long as 5 days. I have found that this salad mix, because it has the mung beans in it, doesn't last quite as long as like just regular old broccoli sprouts. But there's a lot of good stuff in this batch. So I'm gonna try it. I want to make sure I get. So you can see here, we've got the radishes, we've got broccoli, alfalfa, mung bean, and lentils all in here. So let me give it a taste test. I like this mix that I got from True Leaf Market a lot. It's how do I describe it? It's less spicy than like just straight broccoli seeds. My wife loves broccoli sprouts. This mix for me is a little bit milder because it's got the radish and it's also got the alfalfa, and it has quite a bit of alfalfa plus those beans in there. Kind of milds out the spiciness, and so it's just got a nice flavor to it. We are going to use these on sandwiches. We're going to use them in salads. We're going to use them in soups. Like I say, they're probably, a lot of times we just take a big handful and eat them that way. They're probably going to last us 3 days, maybe 4 days, and the two of us, and there's just two of us, we'll eat those up. So again, there you go. Finished product. 6 days, start to finish, and these are ready to eat. So we're going to enjoy those. That's the process, guys. So make sure once you've done this that you get them in the fridge. We don't want them, we don't want them hanging outside of the fridge. They do need to be in the fridge, and you should be in great shape. Okay. So thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this slightly longer format. If you enjoyed it, where I kind of went into detail and showed you every day, let me know if that's something you'd like to see more of, because we could do, a lot of different experiments with different sprouting seeds and show you that detail as well. So remember our 3 rules that we talked about at the beginning. Follow those, and you should be in great shape. Okay? All right, so thank you so much for watching. A big thank you again to True Leaf Market, who sponsored this video. Again, True Leaf is the place to go for sprouting supplies and microgreen seeds and supplies. Whether you're growing commercially or just for yourself, whatever it is, they are the place to go for sprouts and for microgreens. And speaking of microgreens, the next video that we're going to be doing is going to be a taste test. We're going to do some radish microgreens and taste test 3 different varieties of radish microgreens. So I think you guys will enjoy that one. Should be coming up in about 10 days. Haven't started the batch yet. I'll start them tomorrow. So about 10 days from now, we'll have that video ready for you. All right. Thanks again for watching, guys. Make sure you go check out True Leaf Market. There's links down in the description of this video to everything that I used in the video so that you can go buy those. And again, we love True Leaf Market and really grateful for them for sponsoring this video. That's all I have for you for this week. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next week. Happy gardening.